what the hell's going on, investors? I want to walk you guys through my two favorite choices that I just recently invested in the month of June. Actually, one was at the end of May, but we'll just call it June because that's when I'm making this video. Um, going to walk you guys through it, how much I invested, the reason why I invested, and also some investor material that you guys can search through in order to make your own decision as to whether or not you want to add this to your portfolio. I'm Novus. Let's get into it right after this introduction. So, I don't know how much you guys have really followed my channel or not, but mostly what I do is talk about dividend investing. And I've gotten to a point where, I'm making about $310 a month or so in dividend income. In 2018, I'm anticipating, without any raises or anything, to make around $3,600 for the year. But so what I've been trying to do is look at some more longer-term growth stocks for my portfolio. I'm pretty young, just turned 26, so there's a couple items that I've been more conservative with my investments. So you see Hershey, Main Street Capital, Realty Income Corp. Long-term dividend growth stocks. But the things I wanted to start adding to my portfolio are more growth stocks, and I think I really started doing this with like First Solar. Skyworks Solutions was probably one of my first growth stocks that I invested in. But what I really wanted to do was start getting involved in, more longer term, prospects, something that has potential to, multiply by, 2, 3, 4 times, potentially even have up to a 10 bagger, as some people call it. So not really going to cover First Solar or anything today. Maybe I will at a later video, or if you guys are interested, let me know in the comments down below. But the two stocks I want to cover today are Square Inc., as well as Lilith Energy. So Square Inc., I think everyone's pretty familiar with that. Really small company that just started up probably early 2010s, run by Jack Dorsey, who also runs Twitter. So I'm sure you guys are all very familiar with that, which is a payment company, as well as going to be like an online payment analysis company, and it's up and coming financial tech space, which a lot of companies are getting into. And then the other one is Lilith Energy. It's a very small exploration and production company that is mostly situated in the Permian Basin, which, if you guys aren't very familiar with the Permian Basin, it's a oil and gas field in West Texas, southeast New Mexico, and it is very popular right now because of the very low operating expenditures that you need to spend in order to keep the wells going, and also the high initial production rates, as well as the quality of the oil that you get out of there. So there's not a lot of location differentials or anything like that. And so it's really huge. I mean, Exxon just bought like, I don't know, 4 something billion dollars worth of acreage, in the past like 2 or 3 months. Huge amount of sales associated with it. People are buying in and out of the land for anywhere between $20,000 to $30,000 per acre in order to just lease the land, not own it. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. So let's actually look at my actual investments that I did. So as you can see, I bought I think this is like 107 shares of Square for about just under $2,400, and then today I bought 487 shares of Lilith Energy. So that's that. Both of these companies don't pay a dividend, but they are very small companies. Like, it is cool to say, Lilith Energy, I am the largest, not the largest shareholder, but it is the largest single ownership that I have in a company, which is 0.001%. I looked at that. I calculated it today. Let's pull it up. It was pretty sweet. So, do I have it up here yet? I think I do, because I had to calculate this. So here's my Lilith Energy, row 14. And if you go all the way to the right, yep, there it is, 0.000965. So I'm pretty ecstatic about that. There's a lot of companies that I have, a tenth of the magnitude of that. Like Stag Industrial is one of the ones that I have a higher percentage in, and but none of them have the large amount of ownership like I do in this one. So that's pretty cool. So if the company goes up to $1 billion, my investment is now $10,000. So it's kind of cool in that respect, and it's really easy for me to essentially calculate that. But actually going to some of the investor presentations, both of these companies have really good investor presentations over the past couple days or so. So Square, I'm sure you guys have seen these big white boxes. Let's see if we can, like these things, a lot of small businesses with like sales under 100 million are really starting to get into these. And by 100 million, actually, I meant 100,000. So really small mom and pop stores are really opening these because it's really low cost to enter. And you get a phenomenal amount of support associated with it. So here's another thing with it. So really, these are the services that they really offer, right? Payments, point of sale, Caviar, which is like going to be like a menu app for in restaurants. That's something new that they're building. E-commerce, cash payments. They're building like a cash app, like you have for like Venmo or something like that. Appointments, and then they're also doing like an investment banking loan sort of thing, where you can do loans through Square, which they'll eventually take the loans and then sell them to smaller companies, so they don't have to worry about actually getting the money. It's just quick cash to help small businesses and immediately sell it for a profit. Payroll and managing your customers and everything like that. So, huge potential for this. I think let's actually just go to Google really quick. Whoops. Bear with me here. So Square itself is actually kind of pricey in terms of how much it's earning. So it just earned 5 cents in the first quarter. So I bought around $22 flat, so it's up $1 at this point. So woohoo! But anyway, so it IPO'd in like late 2015, I think, and so I bought like 200 shares or something back then on margin, just hoping that it would immediately skyrocket. And I think I sold, a week or two later for basically break even. And then immediately after that, it dropped down to $9. And I didn't really even look at it until more recently. And then I think I noticed it when I got back up to like $15, $16 in like late 2016, early 2017. And then more recently, I I saw the results in the investor presentation, and I was like, I got to pull the trigger. This is going to be a good long-term stock to get involved in, especially all the other items that they're doing, not just point of sales and stuff like that, but e-commerce and loans. I think it was a really good business. And all the institutions agree with me because they own 82% of it. So that's pretty cool. The only issue is that it's rated at just under $9 billion, and so it's kind of pricey with respect to that, considering revenues, I think, are like in the $2 to $3 billion range. But they're starting to make a profit now, and in order for me to really like make sense of this, I mean, these guys are growing, 40-ish% per year. I mean, so in the next couple of years, it wouldn't be, you're basically paying for like 2 or 3 years down the road. 2 or 3 years down the road income, and that's typical for growth stocks. But this thing could easily be worth upwards of $50 billion, depending on, in my opinion. Who knows? It could be less than that. Basically, all I'm just trying to do is, if it goes to $16 billion, I might sell. If it goes to $24 billion, I might sell. I mean, I don't really know what my exit strategy is yet, but it's definitely worth getting into. The other company I want to talk to is Lilith Energy. So like I mentioned a little bit earlier, Lilith Energy is a company. Sorry, I just went through the investor presentation. This came out yesterday, which is coincidentally I invested today. But here's a map of the Wolfcamp in the Permian, which is one of the more productive zones of the Permian. The Permian is like a whole bunch of different reservoirs stacked on top of each other. But here's kind of showing where Lilith Energy's investment is in lease acreage. But yeah, it's just a really interesting presentation if you're interested. Lilith Energy is a really, really small company. They make, I think, just under like 2,000 barrels of oil per day. And it's really, really small. I mean, you're talking $250 million. But they own 10,000 net acres of 10,000 net acres in the Permian. It's not the best acreage. I've talked to some of my buddies who work in Permian at some of these other companies. And it's not the best acreage, but even still, it looks like they're making, if you trust the numbers, they're making pretty good initial production rates out of these wells, on the order of $200 to $300 or 200 to 300 barrels per 1,000 feet, which isn't bad considering that's a little bit above the competitors. So then again, you're investing in someone who, could be potentially falsifying numbers, so that's something you have to consider. But at the end of the day, the acreage, if they're also telling the truth, they have about 10,000 net acres, of which, the acreage is selling for $20,000 to $30,000 a piece. So just the acreage itself, if they can prove that it's productive, pays for the company. And so they also have potentially 500 drilling locations, they said. This was a cool part of the presentation. Let me pull it up here. So here's, I guess, all the different horizons in the Permian. Actually, let's go here. This is, if you know how to read well logs, this is all the different horizons that you can see in the Permian. These are all the reservoirs that you can drill horizontals into. So you have like the Wolfcamp, Bone Spring, all that shenanigans. And so here's actually, so you have this well log. You can kind of see where the oil is, and this is like the quality of the rock. It's sandstone, shale, what have you. But anyway, so looking at this is where essentially the orange is where essentially Lilith is anticipating to drill locations, and over here is where the competitors are drilling locations. So Matador, I've heard stories from my buddies. They say that Matador is out of control. They say no matter what, if they see oil, they're going to produce it, which, in my opinion, maybe not the best idea. You might want to invest where the best and most productive internal rates of return are, but who knows? But a lot of people are focusing on the Wolfcamp A and B, and then this is a new one I haven't really heard, is Avalon Shale. So that's pretty interesting. So basically what they're saying is, in their main lease acreage, which, let's go down here, their main lease acreage, sorry, bear with me, which is right here. It's offset to a lot of these others, and you can see it's kind of on the proximal location of it. Their main lease acreage has all those drilling locations, that they could drill into, the Avalon Shale, Wolfcamp A, Wolfcamp B, and they kind of show what they're going after here. So this one's going after the Wolfcamp A, these are going after the Wolfcamp B, all these are all Wolfcamp A and B, or X, Y. So just a little cool presentation. Worst case scenario is it's kind of a gamble stock, growth stock, and I haven't really invested in the Permian. I personally work in offshore oil and gas assets, so I figured I'd give it a go and just looked at it, and their anticipated production by the end of the year is about 5,000 barrels of oil equivalent per day, which in most cases you can say that a barrel of oil per day will get you about $15,000 to $20,000. So just that alone will be worth about $100 million. So that, with the lease acreage volume, you're looking at close to $300 to potentially $350 million, and that's without any growth in the company itself. And the company is worth $260 million. So the company next year, by the end of next year, wants to be around 20,000 barrels of oil equivalent per day. So definitely a lot of growth potential in this company. I really appreciate you guys sticking by, looking at my June selections for investments. Love to hear your comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I will talk to you guys soon. Look forward to hearing from you guys. And I'm out. Have a good one.